Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks, and welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to be painting a bird, and the cool thing is I asked AI to make an image for me. So we'll see how that um, turns out in the end. I'll show you a picture of it. Did I actually put a separate scene of it? Probably not, but it's actually in the thumbnail. Let me see if I can add it real quick onto one of my things. But how are y'all doing today? Let me know in the chat how you're doing. What are your plans today? What are you doing? I have such a busy schedule, but I'm hoping that today I can just enjoy painting with y'all. Here is the image that AI created for me. Isn't that just beautiful? I cannot imagine like what it did to actually create this image, except that I did see some pictures online. Um, these are from photographers, and look at how beautiful these ones are. They're just very, I like the composition. You know, photographers are artists. They do a lot of really cool, I think, details after they take photos too, but just look at capturing those birds. It's just beautiful. So yeah, and then this one I like because of the flowers too, and the background was really pretty. I told it to make a watercolor, so that's what it did for me. Um, but let me see. I don't know what's going on. Why my light is so dark? I don't know if I need to change the settings on it, but maybe this is just not that high up. I don't know. We'll change the light over and see if that helps at all. I have lights, so we'll see. But here is my drawing. As you guys know, I always suggest you have a very good drawing of your subject to have a accurate painting. So this is the drawing that I've done. I don't know. It's real hard to see because the pencil line is very light. But this is going to be my painting. I'm actually going pretty big today, so we'll see how that works out. This was what we did yesterday at Stampin's Turtles Studio. I had my class yesterday, and we made these cute bird's nests. I guess I'm in a bird theme. I don't know. Are y'all into birds this time of year? I think I've told you all about it. If you're not on Nextdoor, I post pictures all the time of the nest on my front door in the reef, and the mama bird had laid 5 eggs originally, and they all hatched and flew off. Then she came and laid 5 more. But I think there's only 4 babies in there that have hatched. I don't know if the 5th egg hatched. I don't know. But I can show you a picture if you guys want to see it. See her cute little babies that are in there right now. Let me see if I can find it. So oh wait, here we go. I did not take real great pictures, but we'll see what happened. We'll zoom in on it and see. These are the babies in the nest. So that's what they look like right now, or yesterday, I should say. I don't know what that is on the other side. I don't know. I don't know if there's 4 babies. It looks like just 4. I need my tea, y'all. My tea. So I gotta drink some tea right now because my throat is just like going crazy on me. I was sitting on the patio and it's very humid outside, super humid. So, but let's just get busy because we got an hour to get this painted. And I don't want to go over. This is what I painted last week. If you guys didn't see it, you can find it in my the playlist, I guess, or just go to my live stream section and you can see all my paintings that I do live. So this is, we're not even gonna tape you down, I don't think, but I do like this paint set. I've tried to use different palettes, and I do think that it's fun to have these kind of ceramic ones. They're not portable. I have a hard time moving that around. So I really do prefer having this one. It's very compact and has a lid with the wells in it. So that's what I kind of like. I like to do. Do I need to zoom out or in? No. I don't know. I guess that's good. You can still kind of see. I can make it a little bit smaller. And then you can see the whole desk, maybe. Maybe that will work better for y'all. And I'll zoom in as we need to. If I remember. At least we don't see the side of my head while I'm painting. That's all I got to worry about. But today I was on the patio just sitting drinking my coffee earlier. Sorry. I don't know what's going on there. So I'm just getting a wide variety of my brushes out. See which ones I'm going to use. For now, that's good. I'll just put that off to the side. So I don't know what the numbers are on most of these. This script is a 3 script liner or a rigger, however you want to call it. You can get this one at Hobby Lobby. This one, all the numbers came off, but I think it's either like a 6 or a 4, and this is probably like an 8. This was, I think, a 12. I don't know why they don't just etch these things. You know what I'm saying? Like this one's rubbing off too, and I think it's probably was a 12 as well, but it was a different shaped brush. I like these pointy brushes better. These are pretty much all that I use. For the most part, I use these two the most. So basically the number on it doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable using. But to start, we're going to be wetting the background. I think I'm going to do the background on this first. I lost my phone. I want to see the photo. I always got to look at the photo. The reference photo. But I really like this one because, and I don't know why there's a signature in the bottom. I hope it's not plagiarizing someone. That's one thing that people complain about AI generated images is that they're plagiarizing. But we're going to change this enough, I think, that it's going to be more my own. I'm not too good at rendering things exact anyways, but I do kind of like that these flowers are on there. And the leaves. And we'll just put some leaves right here instead of more flowers. I did like this background with the trees of shadowy trees in the back. I don't know, I just kind of like that. So we'll just make sure I have some right there. There we go. So it's kind of similar, and I can't really read the name in there, but that's okay. What I really want to focus on is this eye. Eyes are kind of hard to do, but if you have a little bit of a technique to it, I can show you what to do with that. So first and foremost, I just want to get that background taken care of. So I like to wet the whole background with my largest brush, basically, trying to avoid everything going around the flower I didn't really check on my phone if the YouTube is going live. I don't know where this little pink thread is coming from. I didn't put it there. So see how I'm putting a fair amount of water, y'all, and I'm not being super careful. Oops, I went over that flower. It's all right. So I've done a fair amount of water in this to get it nice and shiny, and you can see a shine on there. So if you pick up your paper, you can see there's a shine, but not on the bird, not on that flower. You want your paper shiny. You don't want it drippy, but you want it shiny with wetness from the water. So now I should have mixed up my colors. This one has some pretty yellow in the background and greens and purples. I'm not sure if that's what I want. I like going with the blues. Maybe I'll mix up my own kind of bluish purple. I do like the yellow. But who knows? We'll see. So now I'm going to put this in. And just here and there. And I'm not trying to be too careful. I'm just getting color down. And I think that's the key, really. If you want to loosen up and try and do watercolors without really stressing over it, I'd say practice just being real loose with your watercolor. And that will help you in so many ways. Like you'll learn that trying to control this thing is not working for you. All right, now I'm going to rinse my brush really good, tap off all the excess water, and blend that out. Look at how soft that's looking. See how that's real soft? I love that. I'm just kind of fixing a few of these little things over here. Now I want to add that yellow color over here. So I'm going to rinse my brush again and just pick up some yellow that I have. I can mix a couple of my yellows. See how I mix these two? I like these two mixed. And I can put some yellow right under there. But I really don't like how bright that is, right? That just seems super bright to me. So I'm going to rinse my brush, dab it on the paper towel, and I'm going to lift all that color off. You might be like, oh, you're wasting so much color. But it's not really about wasting or not wasting. I just want to make sure I get the look that I want. I don't want it to be I don't want it to be too bright. So to dull it down, I have to lift it off and use water. So a lot of times people are afraid to use that water, but let the water work for you. Like the water is amazing, right? That's why we like watercolor, the look of it too. Oops. It's so big sometimes, this size, it's hard to film. But hopefully I'll get my studio up and running with its own film section, right? I won't have to worry about this. Now I'm just going to go in. This is actually wet and dry. So we did wet and wet. Now we're doing wet and dry. And it's looking kind of good. When you do it like that, you have more control. You can add more color into that. And look at the purple in here. Isn't that pretty? So I do kind of like that purple. And you can add it over here. You can add some yellow mixed with green. And you can add that into this section. And see, I'm just getting the overall colors down for most of the background, right? So I can even add some more greens. You can really get creative with this. You can add a lot of yellow in there. That's already looking bright. Super bright, right? But I didn't like it. It's too bright. So I'm lifting it up. See how you can lift? It's so pretty when you lift it up, right? Even though it's kind of shiny on the screen, it's hard to see that. Oh, hey, Wildflower. Love the soft blue. Thank you. It does look pretty. And I may add some more purple down in here. So I have to mix it back up with some of my blue. So I mix all my purpley blues right here. And I'm just going to go in around the flowers. And I didn't really draw these flowers perfectly. So that's okay if I mess them up just a little bit. It's fine. And I do like how that looks. It's kind of hard to see in the corner over there. Let's see how I did the corner in there. Lovely background. Thank you, Wildflower. Yes, I'm trying to get the background down. A lot of people want to go straight into the painting, which is fine. There's not really a right or wrong way to approach paintings. Sometimes I like to just get at the subject matter and not worry about backgrounds until last. But then you do have to kind of be careful when you're going around your painting again, because you will end up touching the sides. And I do think that incorporating your backgrounds together, it's kind of nice to have them go together and blend together. And so I hope that you get the feeling in your paintings when you kind of start with your background, then you can incorporate it into your painting, your subject. So I'm using an AI generated image. I do not know how detailed I'm going to be with this. I'm looking at the beak and everything, and I really like the shadows on there. So I think what I'm going to do next is go down a size in brush. So not my big brush, but I'm going to have to mix up that color blue. So I'm mixing up whatever I have right here in this. And I wish I knew the names of all these colors. I think they're just, this is definitely more turquoise. This is more navy blue. This is cobalt blue, I'm pretty sure. So this might be aquamarine, if you really need to know. But I go by what looks nice. I'm not even too concerned with if the colors are perfect. I'm just trying to get the get a similar color. So what makes art so unique is your palette's going to be different than my palette. Now, I just put some color down, but I am not enjoying how I do not like how stark that is. So I'm going to use some clean water, and what I'm going to do is spread it out, because this is what the magic of watercolor is to me, is you spread this color out. I'm avoiding that white section, because you don't paint white. What you do is you leave paper. The paper is your white. So when you're painting a bird that has white in it, make sure you leave the white spots. So definitely getting a lot of movement with that water. Now I do have this ink that I can use, Bombay India ink by Dr. Phil Martins. So I can show you at the end if you mess up and you color something that's supposed to be white. But that's why I always start real light first and we build up color, right? And I hope I got this drawing pretty good. It's kind of a difficult thing to do, but it's fun. It's fun to experiment. And you know, what does it cost to actually do one of these things? Your paper, your paints. I think it's important to remember that when you're learning how to do something, you do have to invest a little bit of money in order to do it. So his little claws are got some blue. I don't know why. Looks like it anyways. So I'm just gonna put blue in there. Now I'm gonna rinse my brush because I'm gonna look at maybe putting some of that Payne's gray in there. So I'm mixing it up. You can see over here I'm mixing some of my Payne's gray in the little section right here. And I'm gonna go back to this section right here and add the darker color. But this is not the blackest black it's gonna be. And you do need to be a little careful. It's gonna blend a little bit with that blue. It's all right, it kind of makes it look soft. Trying to avoid the spots that are supposed to stay white. And just going around those spots that are already kind of penciled in. So there's a little bit of hand control, and that will come with time as you practice. Sometimes the muscle memory, we're like, oh, I can't do this right. And for me, because I've been practicing so much, I actually have pretty good muscle memory for making little marks and stuff. I'm already going to start putting some of these darker, but I'm not doing the details. So definitely trying to keep it from being too detailed right now. Just adding here and there some stuff. I do want to add a couple of these little, get a little more Payne's gray, a little thicker, because if your paint's too thin, it just spreads like you saw. So you need to add and that just starts to add the details, but it's spreading out. I'm not liking how it's spreading so fast. I want it to kind of stop doing that. And also, if you notice on the beak, it's kind of spreading already into the background. So I'm going to rinse my brush, dry my brush, and lift. And you can wiggle your brush to get more of it up. Sometimes people are like frustrated by that situation. I think sometimes when I do it, I get a little bit upset, but then I just think about how to fix it. And when we're problem solving, our brains are working, so it's kind of cool to do that. Like, it's kind of cool to have our brains work, right? And use them. A lot of people do puzzles. They like doing puzzles. I don't know what's going on. All this paper is so wet, y'all. Let me dry it. am using Arch paper, which makes it stay damp for a long time, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's not. It depends on what you're trying to do. So I just dried that kind of quickly, and hopefully I can go back in now and do a little bit more Payne's Gray on the beak and not have it bleed everywhere. But it's all about our layers too. We're starting to make this layer kind of darker. So I like that. I'm trying to follow the picture. When you look at the picture on your phone, you can see it, and your eyes should be looking more at the reference photo than at your paper. So try and make sure you're doing that. And that will help you improve accuracy. But I'm not painting every feather, so I'm just going around these little white spots basically that I already penciled in there, and I can make them a little bit more pronounced if I want. But so far I am just getting down a darker layer, trying to make it look cohesive. So already it's looking pretty good. Here I'll zoom in. You can see just how a little bit of details already making it look like a bird, look like what we want it to look like. So now I'm going to go back to my blues that I had, mix up a little bit more. I like to mix a bunch of different colored blues together, make my own blue. So I don't know what color it really ends up being. I don't know what that is. But there are so many pretty colors in here. The thicker your paint is, the more it'll stay in place. So you want to kind of do that. You want to make some thick consistencies so that it'll start looking and staying in place, looking where you want it to go. Now I'm going to go back over this and make it more turquoise. Like that. Sometimes we just start to let our brush go and do what it wants to do, and we're along for the ride, just having fun. And that's why I said I don't think anyone can ever accuse me of plagiarizing or copyright infringement, because mine is not going to even look like this photo, like this reference photo. It's just going to end up being so different because it's like my own signature is being applied to it, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying anyways. My own signature is being applied. I want some of that purple on this back. I think that's pretty. And see, some of this you can't really even, you can't learn how to do this. You just got to let it happen. Like there's so many nuances right in there that I just am enjoying how it looks. I'm not even going to worry about detail right now. Might just blend this a little bit because I don't like how harsh that is. It looks a little harsh to me. So we're just going to add a little bit of blue, blend that wing. Blend it. I love how that looks. Watercolor is supposed to be just like this fun medium. I think it's pretty fast and easy. I like to keep the brush strokes going in the direction of the wing. And we can even add a little bit of that Payne's Gray right in there. Just deposit a little bit of color, a little bit of dark in there. But I did not purposefully draw any of this detail right now because I want my eyes to look at it and be like, okay, that's where we're putting that. Okay. And, you know, it may not be perfect, but it's going to be my own. And what my eye sees and what your eye sees is going to be so different. That's what makes everything your own. So I'm enjoying looking at what's going on right in here. Definitely in here. And maybe a little bit more of this blue. Just straight in there. Because that's still so wet right now. I'm liking how that looks. And maybe a little bit of just some detail in there. And a little bit of detail right in here. But again, we're not putting a ton of detail right now. We're just kind of getting some color in there. That's what we're trying to do right now, is just get some color. So that's looking good. So I'm going to rinse my brush because we need to jump around, move around the page. If we stick too long at one spot, we're going to get kind of frustrated with the water touching each other, the light and dark areas. So now I'm just going to go over here. Just going to try and do something over here now. And that flower's got a lot of it's got a lot of white. So we're not going to be painting a lot of the white. We're just going to be painting what we see as far as shadows. I had way too much blue on it. Dry, erase, dry. You can't see my towel, but it is getting saturated from drying it off so much. I'm going to actually do a little bit of blending on this flower. It's got some blues and purples. It's really pretty. I'm going to mix some green down in here. You need water. If your brush is dry and your paint is kind of dry, you're going to end up with the look of just like skipping across the texture of the paper. So we definitely want to try and avoid that. Now I want a little bit of a yellow green in here. And see how I'm changing the colors on the paper almost and blending it in there? I'm going to do some right here. You know, when I end up framing this, it may not even be in the picture. It's okay if it's not. Now I'm rinsing and drying, completely rinse, dry, clean. I'm going to get some pure yellow and make some little yellow spots right there. And right now we're not focused on the details of this flower. We're just focused on getting some color in there. And yeah, we're not trying to make it a perfect flower just yet because we're doing layers. This is layer 1. We're not worried about layers 2 or 3. We're just doing the first layer. Over here, I think I made that flower way too yellow, but let's Let's see what we can do. If we can bring back some of the red in there, and maybe some red in there. You probably can't see what I'm doing. I am so sorry. So I just added a little bit of red in here, and I'm going to blend it with a clean, wet brush. See how that just makes it look kind of pretty? Now you can add some of your greenery in there already. And notice I'm just kind of going in and filling in a bunch of images, shapes, not really trying to create anything exact. We're not trying to go for exact. We're just trying to go for something that looks like a shape. Shapes are great. Got to fill in these shapes. So just did that corner. It's going to start looking good. You'll be surprised, y'all, how good it'll start to look. Now I want to make kind of a purplish blue. Can you see what I'm doing over here? So I'm just mixing up some of this purple into this blue. Payne's gray. And I'm going to start making those trees in the background. They're kind of interesting. And I put mine in a different spot. That's okay. And I'm also making it a little different than theirs. And now I'm trying to avoid the petals. See how I avoided some of those petals? Come back in and do another one over here. And you can really use your imagination, just draw, just paint, do whatever you want. Trying to avoid that petal, but it may not end up working. I'm doing something weird here. But I do like softening edges so they're not too harsh. I'm going to put another little thing right there. But see, as you see me growing this tree a little bit, you know that it's starting to look a little cool. It's over here. I don't know what it's doing. We're just imagining all kinds of stuff. But I don't have enough water. You need lots of water, y'all. If you don't have water on your brush, you're not going to get no flow. And that's what makes your watercolor look so amazing is you've got some water flowing on your brush and your paper. So it's making lots of cool things. I'm just kind of straightening up this trunk a little bit. And you can add more branches. You can do whatever you want. This is your painting. You can do what you want. You can add things. You can do like that. Whatever you want. So it's kind of cool. Is it looking like our original? Let me see. Let me see, where's the original? There we go. So it's looking different, but similar. That's how we're going to be like, okay, my tree looks a little different. It's in the same spot. It's kind of similar colors, but it's not exact. It's definitely different, right? And you can see I put a little picture of it in the top left corner. If you want to see that as a little reference there, then that's always good. I think what I'll do next is I think we should do more of the eye. So I'm going to try and mix up my Payne's Gray, make a new section right here that's darker. And you'll see what I'm going to do with the eye. I'm going to zoom in on my phone so I can see what I'm doing, see what it looks like. And I'm not going to worry about that white of the eye. I'm just going to paint the roundness of the eye. I'm not going to worry about getting that little white of the eye yet. I'm going to just go around some of these things, darkening these other layers again. So that's what's going to make it look good. And see all these little, I can go in and make all these little indentations, but don't keep them too uniform. You want to kind of make them look more like feathers. I don't know, I want to round that out a little bit. I think I'm ready to do kind of that orange color on the breast. Let's see if we can mix something. So let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm mixing kind of this red, which is like cad red, cad orange, and then light. And I'm mixing so much of it, y'all, it's gonna be too bright. Okay, so what I might end up doing is dry a section on my palette just so I can mix up something here. And see, it's kind of mixing with whatever color was there, which was kind of like a bluish gray, which is great. So now we're going to go in and start attacking this area. And you can really get a lot on here. And I'm going to mix a little bit more yellow. I like a yellow in there. Now, with all that brightness on there, I am rinsing, clean water, right? And we're going to blend that all together. Because that's what makes a pretty watercolor, right? Looks not too shabby. Not too shabby. And what you can do, if you feel like it went too dark, if you feel like it went too dark, you can always lift. See that? See how I can like lift the colors? I want you to see kind of up close what I'm doing. So I already did a lot of lifting, so I don't think I really need to lift anymore. Maybe just a little bit right there. But gotta make sure your brush is clean and dry, and you can lift. And it'll make it look lighter because you're getting rid of the color. Can see just fine. Oh, good. Thank you, Wildflower. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, is YouTube going live? I just saw, it was dropping frames, so it probably, I don't know if it's my, internet. I don't know if it's the solar flare happening, y'all, but I know there's all kinds of stuff happening in this world, and I'm just going to keep praying. That's all we can do is pray. So now I'm going to add some more onto this flower. Can you see where I'm going with this? And I want to make it kind of cool. Starting to define more on these flowers. I can dry my brush, rinse and dry, and that will loosen that up. See how loose that is? It's kind of pretty how loose and watery it is. That's what I think made me fall in love with watercoloring, was how pretty and loose you can make these things. So definitely using a lot of water and just spreading what I have on the paper, seeing what happens. Because not everything, when you look at nature, is black or white. You have so many colors within the whites, so many colors within your grays. It's just amazing how it all turns out and looks when you're done. But it happens by degrees. So like I'm not painting everything in one go. Like when you're doing acrylics, it's pretty much you put down a color, that's where your color is. And if you don't like it, you can always go back and fix it. Like go over it. But watercolor is not quite like that. I'm going to get this stem in here, this branch, and see what happens. You can kind of make decisions on the fly and be like, you know, I think I'm ready to paint this section. And see what happens. Because you never know. Sometimes you start painting in one area, you kind of get tired of that, and you switch to another section, right? I'm trying to avoid the feetsies. I'm trying not to be too persnickety. I do not like to be persnickety. I like to be loosey goosey. But yeah, every morning I've started trying to do some journaling on my porch with, you know, just my thoughts and not get on the internet, just kind of just try and let God speak to me through my own reflection on life. See how I'm just darkening this a little bit? It's still that pretty kind of reddish brown, but it's just getting a little darker here and there. And if I wanted to get really crazy, I could do a little bit more red. Red in there. A lot of times we just do something. Just try it and see what happens. Look at that. So pretty. See that? Just adding a couple little details. Let me see if I can show you zoomed in. So see all those little brush strokes? They're starting to make some details now. Solar flare. Yes. Wildflower. I do not know, but there was a strange thing happened yesterday. I'm on YouTube watching videos or whatever, and this guy's video, I've never watched him before. It's all about the sun, and now there's like this big spot, and he's like, this has never happened in decades, and blah 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 blah. So I watched the whole video, and I was like, okay, well, you know, it's all in God's hands. And then I watched another video where the guy is referencing that guy's video. And it's like, what? So you never know. Maybe it's God putting it into my view. I don't know. But it could also be some other nefarious stuff happening. But I just try and um, live my life. Y'all, I just try and live my life. And not worry too much about these little things that are happening. Um, and I try and also remember that if it's not something that is happening in my neck of the woods, my life, that maybe I don't need to worry about it. Um, as a Christian, we get so emotional about things and we want justice for those who are suffering. Um, it's definitely can be hard if you're overloaded with all the info that's going on and just keeping it in your heart and your mind too much, and then that ends up affecting you, I think, in a negative way. So I sometimes have to take a break and not let all of that info into my head, right? Just got to try and stay positive and be a good neighbor, be a good friend. All right, see how I put those little leggies in? Can you see his little leggies? So I just put his little legs in, just for, a little darker in there. I have not put any details. If you zoom in on the photo, you can see there's some detail in there. But I just want it to be like, I'll put in shadows and stuff. You'll see. Might even use my white gel pen. It'll be kind of fun. And I don't know what color this is. Let's see what color this is on my palette. So right up here, I don't know what this is. Have some green and teal and some other weird colors in there. So I'm just going to lift that. It's almost grayish. And I think I'm just going to go on the bottom of the bird and see. It's kind of blending with that yellow. I do not like it. So we're going to lift that up. I don't like that yellow blending in there. It's almost like it's in there. It's kind of hard to see it. It's turning like a greenish color I don't like. So I'm going to lift all that up and we're just going to leave that. Leave it. Just leave it. So now my flowers are looking pretty. I like those. Might add a little bit of some brown in here, and we can add some little dots. So yeah, those just add a little bit of something in there. Let me zoom back in so you can see what I'm doing. But see, I'm just taking the very tip of this and just very lightly randomly putting dots. And you can use a smaller brush to get more control in there if you want. But I like how that's looking. So now it's really starting to come together. It's really looking like what I want it to look like. And I can get back into this kind of dark color of, might add some burnt sienna in there. And I'll probably go in here and start adding some little brush strokes to give the impression of feathers. See how that's working? So a lot of times people are like trying to put every feather detail in there. But look at how it's coming together, and I've only done a couple really. See that? So I know there's a little glare on there, but the bright oranges and reds look awesome against the blue. Thank you so much, Wildflower. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, the orange and blue are complementary, or yeah, they do complement each other. So that's why I wanted to kind of do this one. And the yellow and the purples complement as well, but they're much more muted. So a lot of this is just kind of plain now with what we got. And I'm going to mix a little of this Payne's Gray with a little bit of this orange, which gives us a nice little gray. I'm going to kind of go under that feather real light so you can get a little bit of a feel of a shadow, right? You can rinse your brush off and kind of lift and soften. I always like to soften those things. And maybe get a little bit more of this bluish gray in here. I like how it's adding a little bit of a darker feel to that. Now I want to go back up into this area, and if your Payne's Gray is just real watery and blue and you want it to be a little bit more black, mix in a little bit of your burnt umber or burnt sienna right next to it. That's what I have, and I need to actually put some more in there because I'm adding a little bit of that brown, any of your browns really, but make it a burnt brown, right? Burnt umber. So now I'm just going in with this real thick. I'm trying to make this really dark and continue to go around all of these little white spots. And because of my muscle memory already, I'm pretty good with holding my brush, right? So if you're good at holding your brush, I would say just go for it. But it's starting to come along, I think. And I'm just going to add a couple of these little feathery things coming down. And that's going to make it look more realistic. Then I want to soften because I don't like how white that is. So I just washed my brush, dried my brush. Now I'm just going to touch a little bit of that gray and blend it in. A little bit of that gray and blend it. Same with the beak. Blend it in there. Blending around all of these. I might zoom in so I can see what I'm seeing. And there's some like little details. And some like things around the eye. Just let your mind focus on what you're seeing. And that just helps you to create the image more realistic. There. And we'll zoom in. Let me see. Try and zoom in a little bit more. Can you see that? So it's looking pretty good. It might be still kind of not finished, right? I see a little bit of purples in some of this white area. So I want a really watered down purple. And I'm just going to very barely put it in this section. Maybe a little bit around this eye. Maybe on the beak. And a little bit under the chin. Yep. And I'm seeing a little bit of purple in there. And I want to make some little marks for the wing. but not too much. We don't want it to be too overwhelming. And there's like some darker Payne's gray areas under here. Let me see if I can get some of that going now. So we're definitely getting into the, let's do some detailing, right? But we don't want it to be too contrived. We don't want it to be like, oh, that's not quite right. So I just want it to have a little bit of these darker areas, just a little bit. And sometimes you let your eye just look. Just let your eyes look and see what it's coming up with. It could do something totally different than what you think. But also you can end up taking pictures of your painting just to double check a lot of this. And it'll help you. It'll help a lot with your knowing when to add something in there, right? But yeah, that's looking pretty good so far. I'm gonna want to work on the tail, I think, a little bit. So I'm gonna mix up my Payne's gray a little bit more and just kind of add, because the first time I added them in, it was too wet. There. Then we're going to do kind of like on this side a little bit. So we can really form however we want. And it starts to look what it should look like, right? And now we're going to add a couple little shadows under there and this little claw thingy. And this is definitely dark, the shadow. So we're just adding more detail as we go. More and more detail. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Oh my goodness. All right, so I will try and wrap this little baby up with a couple more little details. I do want to add more on that branch. It looks like there's some pretty purpley reds. So see how there's like a shadow side? You want to make sure you're doing this so that it kind of forms to that branch. There's a roundness to the branch. This is all shadow. And you can add different colors. You don't have to stick with just one color going across the whole thing. Kind of makes it fun when you change the colors, don't you think? Makes that funner. You can add back in. You can add some purple. Look at how that's looking. That's kind of cool. I like all these little dark colors in here. I like to add some of the green in there. So it's going to have some shadow under there. And a little bit under there, maybe a little bit up there. Maybe a little bit down here. We don't know where we're going with all this. Let me see. I'm going to zoom in over on this flower just so you can kind of see what's going to happen when I do this. So I'm using the end of one of my brushes and I am dragging it dragging. So you're making these little lines in there, right? And that's going to let all of that kind of soak in there, right? It's going to be super pretty, and you won't have to paint them. You just kind of used your end of your brush, right? So that's kind of cool. And I did kind of want to show you guys how I use this this ink. I keep a little thing on my desk, so I'm just adding a little bit into the into there. So I'm not pouring it or anything. I just used a little bit. Now I do keep a separate brush that I'm not too worried about messing up. And I just get this a little bit wet, dab it in the white, and now I want to look at where did I mess up and not have enough white. See how that's looking? So I'm going to look at this section too and see if there's areas of white that I didn't do. See, I just added those. I tried to keep the white in there. Sometimes I mess up. You can go in and do these little, oh, you can't see. If I could see, but you guys can't see. Shoot. I'm going to add some more little feathers there. And a little white of the eye. So we got that, and I'm trying to think what else. There's a little bit of the beak right there. On these toes, I might show you real quick on these toes. There's like some little roundness to the toes. They have these little bands. So hopefully you can see that. This section right here is going to have some pretty little white feathers. So is this allowed in competitions? I don't know, but we're painting for our own fun. We're not painting for anyone else, just ourselves, right? So this is also cool. You can use this ink to go over the top, but now I won't be able to use this ink to create to paint over. Like, I'm not gonna be able to use it when I but you know what's cool about it? I can just go kind of go in, do whatever I want. I can have fun now, not be too worried, right? So I just added a little bit of white in there because I thought I lost it before. Also over here, I think I lost a bunch of white. You can get where you start doing too much with that and it becomes less of a watercolor. I don't know what's wrong with this dropper. It don't work. It don't work. But I wanted to bring this back out because I can see where it was supposed to be. So yeah, is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. You can do what you want. This is your painting. And so I just added some white into there. Um, Ooh, it does kind of look pretty. I like it. It's fun when you look at your stuff and you're like, I like how it looks. Right? Isn't that the point of doing a painting is so that you enjoy it and you liked how it turned out? So now I'm just going to rinse that brush because this is like acrylic paint. It's going to mess up your brush. That's why I use a different brush just in case I mess it up. But I think that's going to be it. I think it looks pretty good. You know, especially if you frame it and put it on the wall. People are going to be like, wow, that's amazing. You did that. And then you'll be like, yep, I did that. And they'll be like, that's so good. So I feel like that's how I enjoy doing paintings. And like here's an up close of the bird. Wildflower, thank you. She says she or he it came out great. Thank you so much. I did like how it turned out. I think it looks pretty. And in the focus is the bird. It's not about, the background just kind of lends some softness to it. The only thing that I think I might do real quick before I close is mix up some of this like green. I like doing splatters. And so a lot of times I get these little splatters in there. So I like doing them. I like doing a little bit up here. And I think it just adds a kind of fun whimsy to it and makes it almost like it's moving. But I don't like too much, just like, I'm just going to randomly wiggle my brush around and see what happens. So sometimes we can put even like clean water splatters, which are kind of cool. Another thing I really enjoy doing, let me show you real quick if I have it, my rigger. So sometimes I like to do some little squigglies in the corners because I think that adds something. It just looks kind of interesting to me. And you know, it's not everywhere. I don't do it all over. I just do it a little bit here and there. So what does it look like? I don't know. It could be anything. And I like how it just really looks kind of cool. And it's still kind of spreading out. It's not going to stay too noticeable. It's just going to be kind of subtle. So kind of like that. That kind of looks good. Oh, my tea is probably cold. Oh no. It came out great. Yep. Thank you so much. I think it's done. I think I like it. So today's Bible verse, because you know me, I like to end with a Bible verse. And a recent story that was kind of sad about some a puppy that was let me see if I can change the lighting over to here and you guys can see me a little more bright. But there is a sad story about a dog that was stolen a couple years ago, but was found and he was in bad shape, and they ended up they rescued him, but he didn't make it, so he passed away. But I was commissioned to paint him for the owners as a little something nice to do for them. And the verse I wrote on the back of the painting, I wanted to do something to encourage them to feel comfort. And so the one that came up was I think it was Revelation 21:4. So Revelation 21:4, and it says, "And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. mourning and crying and pain will be no more, for the former things have passed away. And that's in the book of Revelation. Like, everybody thinks the book of Revelation is like doom and gloom and like everything gonna be horrible and scary, apocalyptic, and um, nobody really wants to read that book. Nobody wants to even acknowledge it's gonna happen someday. But I want to encourage you to just try. Oh, good morning, Tanya. Just try reading it, because at the beginning of the book it says whoever reads this um, will be blessed. And I do think that reading through your Bible will bless you. I know it blesses me. I enjoy reading my Bible. I enjoy um, taking time to communicate with God through prayer and just like, hey, speak to me, Lord, and opening my Bible randomly and seeing how He shows up on the page. It's so amazing. Time and time again, He shows up and shows me how good He is, how great He is. It's been just wonderful being a Christian. It's not all happiness and stuff. There are still trials and tribulations, but through scripture, I've learned that I can just trust in the Lord and He will be there for me and comfort me and provide for me. And I don't have to worry. I don't have to be full of anxiety. I don't have to be full of worry. And I know that a lot of people do struggle, especially when they read the news. So try to, if you want to be informed, set a timer and be like, I'm doing 10 minutes of the news, and then let's go watch an art video or something fun, you know? So that's why I try and do these videos for you guys. I want to help you with some tips and tricks on how to do this. When you do with the watercolor or with the white ink at the end, it did turn out really nice. I liked how that added something. So if you really do mess up and you didn't leave any white space on your paper, you can use some ink. I think the ink will work. So definitely, if you don't have a bottle of this, I bought every white ink that they had at one point. I was going to do a video about all the different ones. So I just have all of them, and this one's on my desk. I don't know where my other ones are. I'm always misplacing things, but that's okay. But I just say experiment, try what you want to try. I know my set has a white in it, but that's not necessarily opaque enough for me to use, and so I end up using the acrylic ink or acrylic paint. You can use that, or white gouache. Oh, thank you, Tanya, saying it's beautiful. It turned out pretty good. And oh, you should see, Kim did a nest in acrylic paint. She shared the picture with me this morning. So hopefully she'll share it with the group. Even if it's not a watercolor, it's still beautiful and I like it. And that's the thing too. Sometimes we try different mediums. I know Tanya is a little bit like me, just wanting to learn new stuff and try new things. And that's what I like to do, is try new things. And I still am playing around with water soluble oil paint. So we'll see where that goes. It's a little smelly. I don't really like the fumes, and I'm still not sure if I know how to use it, but it's fun to play with. And I have so many canvases, y'all. I need to start doing some things with them. But I am holding a class tomorrow. If you're local to Baldwin County in Alabama, then you can come to one of my classes in person. We're doing 2 cards tomorrow, mixed media, so we'll incorporate watercolors, stamps, and all that cool stuff. And I just think that learning in person with a group of people is more fun. I actually learned from watching YouTube videos how to watercolor, and so that's good because you can pause and rewind, which I did a lot of that. But so yeah, definitely if you're in town, check out my website, which is stampinturtles.com, and you'll be able to sign up for classes there. But I hope you all have a blessed day, and just know that I care very much for you. I love you and pray for you. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.